guys. I know I hadn't made a video in quite a while now, but you know, life happens. I have a 10-month-old boy, love him to death, and we've been having a ball. It's summertime here, lots of swimming and river days and all that good stuff. But I don't know, this is kind of crazy how this happens. I was building a big block, as y'all know. If you've watched any of my past videos, I've done electrolysis and whatnot, cleaning up the engine. But you know, I kind of went down the rabbit hole of YouTube one night and seen where you could put a Gt500 blower on a LS. And you know, it takes somebody who can fabricate just a little bit, and I'm that guy. So I came up with a Gt500 blower for $300 off of Facebook Marketplace. Just so happened the exact same weekend came across a 6.0 with a 480 two-wheel drive transmission, and I can't help but think that that would be a lot better, more reliable combo than the big block. The big block was going to be pretty rowdy. This ought to be awesome. I mean, it ought to be a real fun little build. We'll see what y'all think. This is just the start of how I'm putting the blower on here. Pretty neat. This turned out to be a fun project, and this is a little different than normal because I took a bunch of pictures and video along the way, and I'll just have to talk you through it. So here it is. This is the Gt500 blower that I got. Paid $300 for it on Facebook Marketplace. As you can tell, I've done one thing to this already. I pressed the pulley off the front and put it on backwards. I've seen this all off of another video on YouTube. It was pretty straightforward, even though you're going to have a pretty good press and have something to not tear up the pulley. I made a little piece of plate to help bend it, to help keep from bending it. You can also see this fancy new Holley intake. It came with the carburetor top, which is fine because I'm going to cut it off. I'm actually going to weld my plate to the top of this instead of bolting it like a Holley high ram or whatever. The main reason for doing this is I bought this intake with injector bungs, so it is definitely EFI intake, but I'm going to cut the carb plate off, weld the plate on, and make it happen. The main reason we got this intake is I paid $299 for it. On eBay, it's a scratch and dent. Just the base for the Holley high ram was $550, so that's that. One of the first things I had to do to this blower was kind of grind this little tit off, is what I'm going to call it, just so we could get it flat on the plate. And as you'll see, I had to notch the plate as well for this front part. But man, it fit good. Now the fun part. I just laid the blower on top of this 1/2-inch piece of aluminum plate. It was simple, you know, mark my holes, drill them, and tap them. And it wasn't that big of a deal. That aluminum's pretty easy to tap. I actually bought the aluminum plate off eBay for, I think, 40-something bucks. I'll put a link to that. It was real hard finding 1/2-inch aluminum plate around me. I don't know what the deal was. But anyways, we got it there. Alright, I'm right in the thick of it here. Sorry I got a fan on so I don't burn my ass up. But you see I got about 1, 2, 3 more holes to go. Got them all started in there, making progress. Alright, here's where things got a little bit tougher. I started drilling holes in the very corner, and I used an 1.1/8" bit on the drill press for every corner, so I had a clean corner. And I just had to make a template out of cardboard and kind of transfer it onto the aluminum and cut the holes, and then cut it with the plasma cutter. And it ended up cutting pretty good. This is where my mind doesn't stop, and I just can't leave stuff alone. I couldn't just run a water meth kit like everybody else was doing. Decided I might try to make myself an intercooler. I found a real cheap oil cooler, in quotation marks, on eBay for like $40, and it just so happened to fit this hole perfect. You know, instead of using the water meth, I thought I might do this. It ends up in the end that I've decided to scrap this idea, but I wanted to show y'all, because if you wanted to do this, it would work. Like for real, it would be super easy. It has dash 10 in and out. You could run it to another exchanger with fans on it and fill it full of water, and you could also put a box in between it full of ice if you wanted to race. your intake air temps would be like mint. So just something for y'all to check out. Man, this thing sits in here so freaking perfect. I don't know if you can tell, but it has like a step down in that cooler, and it just sets perfect. I mean, y'all can see this cooler is like dead on the money. Man, I just got to figure out how I'm gonna do it. I'm not sure right now. Well, I got some 2-inch by 4 foot 1/8 thick aluminum strap. Just got it from Tractor Supply. It was cheap, $17, $18. And I don't know if y'all can catch my drift or not, but this is going to be installed around this intercooler. I'm going to cut 2 holes on the sides here where the AM bungs will set out. And I'm going to weld it around here, and then that's it. And I'm going to weld it to the intake. This is showing kind of where I was at on the intercooler deal. You know, I would drill holes, and I stuck it through, and then I welded it around the AN bung. Man, it really seemed to be like it would be a good thing. And I'm just kind of showing y'all some of the final results on this deal. The intercooler's in there right there, and it looks nice. Here it is, fellas. That is a 4080 tool drive transmission and a 6.0. It's an iron-headed 6.0. It's an early one. I've already taken the wiring harness off, and I had to split it. My tractor wasn't big enough to pick it up. It's just a little guy, but got it all out on a pallet sitting outside the shop. I'm gonna get it cleaned up, and we got to get the intake fit to this thing, man. Once we figure out the depth here for the depth of the pulleys, we got to add an idler over here, and then we'll figure out where to weld that plate onto the new aluminum intake. And can't wait to get this thing cleaned up and looking snazzy. And if you don't know, that's what it's going in. Just sitting out back ready to be built.